Good afternoon, everyone. It is 4:03 p.m. on Tuesday, January 24th. My name is Sarah O'Keefe. I'm the Director for Sustainability and Climate Justice here at the City of Cleveland, and I'll ask Jennifer to also introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Kipp. I'm the Manager of Urban Forestry in the City of Cleveland.
And we are acting in the capacity of, we'll call it Chair and Vice Chair Pro Tem, because this is the kickoff of the commission and we don't have those positions elected or appointed yet. I'd also like to introduce Brittany Montgomery over here, who will be acting as our secretary and recording the minutes for this, the proceedings of this meeting. And with that, we have a quorum, so I'd like to call to order this meeting and turn that over to Jennifer Kipp to introduce the purpose of the commission. And then we will hear remarks from Councilwoman Jenny Spencer, as well as Mayor Bibb when he arrives. Thank you.
Okay, so I start with call to order. Okay.
Oh, you introduce. The commission.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Right here.
Yes.
This is okay.
So we thank you for, first we're going to hear a couple remarks and then we'll go on to the actual roll call. And that is when we'll officially start the proceedings. And thank you, another commission member just joined us. So why don't I go ahead and start with Councilwoman Jenny Spencer. First of all, just wanted to thank you all for being here. The Urban Forestry Commission has been revitalized from the former Tree Commission, and this is, as I said, the first kickoff meeting of that commission. I'd like to introduce our Councilwoman Jenny Spencer from Ward 15 to say a few words about the commission.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Director O'Keefe. It's great to be with you, Jennifer, and to the members of the commission. I look forward to getting to know you all better. It's such an honor to be together today. This is a long anticipated day. We're finally here. We have some really exciting endeavors ahead of us also. It's really the start. I'm glad we're marking this day in the way that we are together. So I think I'll keep my comments short. I know that there are big numbers. We all know this, that there are big numbers when it comes to the amount of tree canopy that we need to preserve and grow in the city of Cleveland to meet our goals. And those goals are linked to human health and flourishing, as well as climate change and all the other benefits of the urban forest. And I have been, just a quick note about my personal journey, and I should have added that I'm just delighted to be Cleveland City Council's appointee to this commission. That's a true honor. But I have been learning from my residents. They are so passionate about tree canopy. So I have learned, I did not start off with a background in urban forestry. I just thought a tree was a tree. Literally, you're lucky you're meeting me now, because that's where I was 2 years ago. So we're much better off, much farther along in terms of what are the policy implications and what do we all need to know in terms of how to really dive into this work. So I've grown tremendously. But we know that there are big numbers and they're kind of daunting, right? They're big, they're so big that they're daunting. But this is an essential part of that journey. And I think without this Urban Forestry Commission, it would be even harder to wrap our arms around those goals and be ambitious together. So again, I'm so grateful that we are going to undertake systems level change. And I think that's really the purpose of this commission is, in my ward, we're doing project level change. We're kind of doing things project by project. I think the role of this commission is to really look at systems level change. I view that as our purpose, and I think there's nothing more important. So one other thing I wanted to add from my experience in my ward, which is Ward 15. A lot of you might be familiar with Ward 15. It's the Cadell, Detroit, Shoreway, and Edgewater neighborhoods. I also have a little bit of the Stockyard neighborhood in my ward and a little slice of Ohio City as well. I have a wonderful group of residents called the Ward 15 Tree Canopy Steering Committee. A couple other stakeholders are part of that group as well. And one thing that they have taught me that I'm hoping to carry over to our commission, when I started 2 years ago, again, very basic level, not a lot of understanding of tree canopy, I thought, it must just be about planting trees. It turns out that preserving our existing mature tree canopy is just as important, if not more important, than planting new trees. So I think I'm bringing that orientation to this group too, an understanding of we need to be passionately committed to preserving our mature tree canopy. So new tree planting projects are essential as well, but preserving what we have. We have a magnificent urban forest, but it needs a lot of love and help. And again, hopefully we can get at that at the systems change level. And finally, I'd just like to add one thing that I've learned, especially working through you, Jennifer, is just how much interface there is between our Division of Urban Forestry and other work that the city does. So the mayor's office of capital projects, so our big capital projects, huge interface, huge implications for trees, right? Especially when we're talking about tree preservation, or outside groups or utilities like Dominion, when they come in to do gas line replacement, huge implications for our tree canopy. So there are so many connects and overlaps. So we're really not here just limited, I think, to the work of urban forestry. It's much more expansive in terms of how all this work intersects with departments and divisions within the city, but also outside partners. And so I hope to spent the past 2 years just being the best student I can about history, what we do at the city, how all these pieces connect. And I'm just delighted to be a piece of the puzzle here at the table and work with you all to go even further and deeper and to make that systems level change. So thank you so much. Cleveland City Council is thrilled to be a part of the commission.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank
You want to introduce?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Good afternoon, Mayor. Hi. I'm great. I'm nervous, quite frankly.
Be nervous? It's easy.
Ooh, deep breaths.
Switch jobs.
No, thank you, respectfully. So the mayor's presence at the inaugural Urban Forestry Commission meeting speaks volumes about his commitment to climate justice and resiliency. And it was about almost 100 days in office last year. You were, during an interview, you stated that access to tree canopy is a civil right. Trees are one tool in our climate justice toolbox. And so I am very proud to serve on Mayor Bibb's team for the betterment of our great city. So it is both an honor and privilege to introduce the Honorable Justin Bibb, the mayor of the city of Cleveland.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'm going to interrupt you.
Oh.
Could you stand up and come
Sorry.
this way because you're not on camera?
Sorry.
Just need to, you
I
can
gotta go
come.
in the middle and
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Well, I just want to first thanks Jennifer for your leadership. Thanks Sarah O'Keefe, our brand new Director of Sustainability and Climate Justice, but also thank Councilwoman Spencer because I'm learning from her leadership and City Council for their support in making this commission possible. And I'll admit, I've had a very long journey to my own passion for this issue. When I was campaigning 2 years ago, which feels like a lifetime ago, by the way, I got so many questions on the campaign trail about our tree canopy and what I was going to do to make sure we got back to being a forest city. And at first, I thought it was a silly question because I should be focused on violent crime, getting more guns off the street, making sure we bring back the east side of Cleveland. But as I start to talk to more and more voters, not just on the west side, but on the east side, I saw the connection to this work around climate justice. And I thought about in my neighborhood, where in the 1990s, we had a whole lot of trees in my block. Now we don't anymore. And in my part of the city, we have higher rates of asthma than you see in other parts of our community. That's a problem. That's a problem. And that's why this work is so important. And it has so many unintended consequences if we don't do a better job of restoring our tree canopy across the city. So I'm excited for this commission to be part of the work we're doing at City Hall. We have a lot of work to do to get not only more local funding, but state funding and federal funding around this issue. I know the councilwoman and I are aligned around that and know that as vice chair of U.S. climate mayors across the country, I want to do everything I can to uplift your work nationally in terms of what we're doing around best practices. So again, excited to be here today and excited for the work ahead. So thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Sorry I was
Thank
late
you.
too.
Thank you so
Usually
much,
on time.
Thank you, Mayor. And so now we'll move on to the next part of our agenda. We are going to do the official roll call of the commission members who are present. And we will also ask each commission member to say a brief sentence, if you could, about your introduction. So your name, please state your name and an introduction from each of you.
I'll start.
And
Okay.
then,
And then also how I end, the role that I have.
yes,
Correct,
so
yes.
apologies. So Jennifer Kipp will be calling the roll, and when she calls your name, please go ahead and just say present, and then we'll start with introductions. Apologies.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, I'm pulling it out. Allison Henney. Jose Hernandez.
Present.
Bernie Jackson.
Present.
Mikel Jean-Baptiste.
Present.
Jennifer Kipp, present. Daniel Lehman.
Present.
Samira Malone.
Present.
Gray Alexi.
Present.
Oh,
Okay.
would you mind coming to the table?
Sure.
Yeah, there's a,
Thank you. There's another chair.
okay, excellent.
Okay. Tom Schreiber.
Present.
Jennifer Spencer.
Present.
Divya Sridhar.
Present.
Richard Spitalski.
Present.
Roger Tokars.
Present.
Sarah O'Keefe.
Present. Okay. And now we'd like to ask each of you to say your name. So thank you, that establishes the role, and everyone is here. We do have one position open for a youth member of the commission. And we posted online that you can reach out to Jennifer Kipp. We've already gotten a little bit of interest. So that will be one of the first orders of business to fulfill the ordinance requirements. And why don't we go ahead and start over here? If you could introduce yourself, one sentence, your name, and then a sentence about your relationship to this commission.
My name is Bernie Jackson. I am the Assistant Commissioner at Cleveland Public Power. I work along with Jennifer Kipp to try and free up any dangerous contacts with wires that trees may have. We try and keep them healthy, but every now and then they may not like the way that we have to trim them out only because of reliability of power. But most definitely, we want to do a better job and show respect to the trees for the city.
I'm Roger Tokars. I live on the west side. I'm actually a civil servant at NASA. I've been there about 15 years, and I'm also a landlord. And I've been working with Councilman Casey for the last several years to help the tree canopy in my neighborhood.
Thank you.
I've already had a chance
Yes,
to
that's
speak,
true.
but I'm Spencer, Cleveland City Council. And I do want to recognize my colleagues, Councilman Casey and Councilman McCormick, who co-sponsored the legislation to reconstitute the Urban Forestry Commission. So I know that, Roger, you came very highly recommended by Councilman Casey as one example. So it's really great to carry on that work together. And just as a point of order, Brittany, are there extra agendas? It seems like some of us got them and some of us might have not. So there are extra.
Sorry, we have the agenda posted up
Oh,
here.
it's
So
okay.
yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very
and we
much.
can change that in the future. We can have a printed agenda.
Okay, don't worry.
So the, and just for point of order,
Thank you.
yes, the things we have printed out for commission members, these are references that we will refer to in the agenda itself. There are rules and regulations, which will be discussed later, and then the declaration, our urban forestry, the actual ordinance, and then we have Robert's Rules of Order, which we admittedly are still learning a little bit ourselves. So, thank you.
Hi, I'm Allison Henney. I'm the manager of urban design and architecture and city planning. I work with quite a few people along the table as part of the Downtown Flats Design Review Committee, as well as PetPod, especially Jennifer and her influences about maintaining the street trees in the public right of way.
Thank you.
Well, hi, everyone. My name is Dan Lehman. I'm a resident volunteer. I have planted trees with Western Reserve Land Conservancy. I take care of trees along a towpath with the Cleveland Metro Parks, and I've worked with Jennifer Kipp in the city of Cleveland to plant trees in Lincoln Park.
Hey, my name is Mikel Jean-Baptiste. I work with Burn Bell and Carr as a real estate development coordinator. I'm not renovating houses. I've got to work with the Western Reserve Land Conservancy, Red All Green Partnership, planting trees in the central community over the last 2 years.
My name is Jose Hernandez. I am the manager of engineering for Cleveland Water. A few years ago, I worked with Jennifer on some of the first tree protection specifications for construction projects. As you can imagine, we do millions of dollars worth of water main replacements in the right-of-way in the city of Cleveland and surrounding communities, which all could impact trees in a significant manner. So we found ways to work around them to protect trees and work with Jennifer, and looking forward to doing a lot more of that in the future.
Thanks, Jose. Okay,
You feel like you've already introduced yourself?
I kind of do.
Okay.
And I also just want to say, like, I've had the privilege accepting Gray. I've had the privilege of either meeting or working with everyone at this table. So, and I'm excited to invite Gray to the team.
Already introduced, we'll do that again. Sarah O'Keefe, Director for Sustainability and Climate Justice. And Brittany, are you advancing the slides?
She's supposed to say next.
What's that?
Oh, next.
Oh, okay. So we're on the roll call. I just wanted to put that up there for our public audience online. Thank you very much. Okay.
All right. Well, my name is Samira Malone. I'm the director of the Cleveland Tree Coalition, and I work with Jennifer Kipp in the city of Cleveland. Very fortunate to work with you all as our critical partner in reforesting the Forest City. I'm a proud Cleveland resident, grew up on the east side and central, now live in St. Clair Superior, so I've lived on every end of 55th you can imagine. And really just excited to see this body of governance really in support of Jennifer Kipp and the work that we're leading the charge on here in the city of Cleveland to provide a quality of life for all of our residents through green infrastructure.
I'm Tom Schreiber. I'm the manager of community forestry at the Western Reserve Land Conservancy, and I manage our Reforest Our City program. We plant trees in the neighborhoods in Cleveland. We give trees away to residents to plant on private property, and we train tree stewards, members of the public, to be advocates for trees in their community.
Hello, everybody. My name is Divya Sridhar. I'm the manager of climate resiliency and sustainability at Cleveland Neighborhood Progress. I'm also a proud Ward 15 resident. I've had the privilege to work with Jennifer, Sam, and a few others here on advancing tree canopy in our neighborhoods. We work with different community development corporations, and our work is in ensuring that our neighborhoods have an equitable distribution of tree canopy so that they enjoy the quality of life that is equitable across the city. I'm absolutely honored to be on this commission and work towards some systems change here in our body of work in support of Jen and
Thank you.
Hi, Rick Slutowski. I manage the Division of Engineering and Construction and Mayor's Office of Capital Projects. We do a lot of work in the right-of-way, exclusively in the right-of-way, so the streets, the sidewalks, have a number of programs that certainly touch trees constantly, and we're learning more and more on how to take better care of that, how to adjust our construction techniques. We also have the Dominion's PIR program, Pipeline Infrastructure Replacement Program, which also is on the sidewalks, constantly putting new gas lines in throughout the city. So that has impacts on trees. So we're working very closely with Urban Forestry and Jen, making sure that our techniques take care of the trees. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Gray, like the color, Lexi. Cleveland resident for 15 years. I'm invested here, I care about the city, and I want to use the skills that I have to make a difference. I work as a tree care professional and also in land conservation, natural resource management. Currently work for the Natural History Museum as a land steward.
Thank you. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please? So thank you, everyone. Welcome. We just wanted to go over Robert's Rules of Orders really quickly in meeting management. And a quick read of the commission's purpose, an overview of committee leadership roles. The agenda that was emailed to commissioners last week, or at the end of last week, I believe. I'm just going to go over it because we don't have it up on the screen really quickly. So we'll talk about meeting management and Robert's Rules of Orders, which is how we will conduct the meetings. Then we'll have an urban forestry interview from Jennifer Kipp, and then we will be electing the chairperson of this commission here today. And so we wanted to have a little bit of a review of the purpose, Robert's Rules of Order, how that vote will take place. And then there will be also an appointment of a vice chairperson and an appointment of the secretary after that election. So we put this at the end of the agenda so that the commission members would have an opportunity to understand what the urban forestry program is, get a little sense of what this commission and how it might function, and then we will hold the elections. And some of you are already possibly thinking of nominating someone here around the table or yourself, and that's wonderful. So that's why we have that towards the end of the agenda. We will also be then discussing under the new chair the draft rules and regulations. And that could be, we are pretty short on time. We are very ambitious with this agenda. So it could be that we start that conversation and then finish that, make a motion to table it for the next meeting, which is fine, or discuss and vote via email. Okay. And then we'll have public comment towards the end. The call for public comment will occur towards the end of the meeting, as I said, and there's a time limit for comments per person. And just for clarification, this is not really a question and answer period. We will be working as a commission on a method for submitting questions to the entire commission so that we can answer them as a body. All right, so quick read of the commission's purpose. We heard a lot about what the purpose is, and you have in front of you your Urban Forestry Commission, chapter 163. I think this is the amended one as well. Okay.
The amendment.
So I'm just going to, we will also share, we don't have the amendment here on terms, but we do have the terms listed in our presentation for each of the commission members, and those were determined by an amendment later after the revitalized Urban Forestry Commission legislation was passed. So the purpose of the Urban Forestry Commission, we're just going to have a declaration of the public policy. So if you put your attention to 163.01, trees contribute to the quality of life of urban dwellers and are a valuable and beautiful asset throughout the city. The Urban Forestry Commission will serve in an advisory capacity to assist the mayor, Cleveland City Council, Urban Forestry Section of the Division of Park Maintenance and Properties, and the City Planning Commission to ensuring the many benefits trees provide to the citizens of the city by making recommendations related to a number of items that are listed. So that is what we will be undertaking or the chair of the commission will be undertaking as we go forward, and we will be undertaking as commission members. For Robert's Rules of Order, if you look on your printed materials in front of you, and could you go, actually this is fine. So we have also for our public audience here, we have a quick overview of Robert's Rules of Order for public information on how our meetings will be run. This is a handout and a guide that we can certainly discuss. This is just a brief handout so that we all understand running the meeting in a typical agenda. We did the call to order and roll call. We have a couple of approval of the minutes and reports of officers, committees, and unfinished business don't apply to this meeting. So we'll do new business, which is a presentation from Jennifer Kipp. And then we don't have any announcements other than the remarks that were already made by our elected leaders here. We do have the public comment, and then we have adjournment on the agenda. Can you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. Handling motions, when we get to the part of the discussion of the rules and regulations, I think this would be very useful so that we all understand that we want to handle a motion. And also for when we get to the election of a new chair, of the chair. So these are just instructions and they're here. And if anyone is more mastered at this process than I am, you're more than welcome to take it on and correct my missteps. So here are the handling motions for each of the items of business. Again, election of the chair and review of the rules and regulations discussion. And you have this right here, handy in front of you. All right, so next slide, please. Just a quick review of the chair, vice chair, secretary roles. Again, the chair will be elected by the commission. It will lead the commission, set the agenda for and run quarterly meetings, and really communicate with members and understand the different points of view of the commission and what every role brings. The vice chair will be appointed by the chair. it really serves as a second leader for the work of the commission, stand in for the chair at meetings, and request items for the agenda. So really a supportive second leader for the commission. And the secretary, also appointed by the chair, will take the roll call, record minutes during the meeting, share minutes afterwards, and just a note that the minutes really become a legal document for the commission's work. So being detailed, we are also recording all of these meetings, so that will be helpful. So no pressure to record every single word during the commission meetings. A procedure for taking vote also on your sheet here in front of you, so that when we get to that point in the agenda, we have confirmed that we have a quorum here. 8 members establish a quorum here for our commission because we have 15 members, so that's a quorum for the membership. And we will be asking all those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye. All those opposed, please raise your hand and say nay. And the chair will not be asking for abstentions. And then we will announce the vote and then move on from there. And the motion will pass or fail. That's a crash course in Robert Rules of Order. So you have your sheet next to you, and we're going to move on to the next part of the agenda, which is the urban forestry overview. And just a quick note, we are a few minutes over time, but we're not doing too badly. So,
Agreed.
Good job, everybody. And you're so we want to go to the presentation and the urban forestry overview. Next slide, please.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I had the privilege also of interviewing all of you. We spoke, I believe it was last September, and I conducted a very brief interview and asked everybody at the table the same questions. And the first question I posed, well, first it was a statement, is that if your application is approved and you are on the Urban Forestry Commission, you will be doing, the primary focus of your work will be to support the City of Cleveland Urban Forestry section and me now and whoever sits in this position moving forward. And so then the question was, what does Cleveland Urban Forestry do? And that was a really good conversation I had with each of you. So this presentation is highlighting what me and my team do every day for the City of Cleveland. And it's focusing on goals over the next 5 years. Next slide, please. Urban Forestry's mission: promote trees as critical green infrastructure essential for the well-being of our citizens and planet. Reduce risk in the urban forest through pruning and removal operations. Establish young trees and protect existing trees to ensure their future contribution to positive health outcomes in our city. Next slide, please. So how are we going to accomplish this? So that's what we do, and then how do we get there? So we need everyone in the City of Cleveland see trees as critical green infrastructure. These are assets, the only assets that appreciate over time. We need to conduct a comprehensive street tree inventory and develop a management plan for our city-owned trees. We need to perform systematic street tree maintenance on a 9-year cycle. We're currently on a 26-year cycle, and one of my other slides talks about that. All departments across the city will adopt tree protection specifications in their contracts and then hire a project arborist to enforce those specifications. Add urban forestry into all workflow. Right now that tool is Excella. There's other workflow applications so that urban forestry can review and issue permits. And then another goal, the last goal is, there's a lot more goals, but this is, I wasn't gonna be too lofty. Give the foresters, those are my field operations foresters, they're all certified arborists, give them the authority to ticket for tree damage. And then that ticket, that would go into the tree fund, which this commission actually gets to decide how to, recommend to the mayor how to disperse funds in the fund. Next slide, please. So trees are infrastructure. So this particular tree, this tree in the middle photo, that's on Terminal Avenue. And that's an example of a tree as infrastructure. That intercepts 500 plus gallons of stormwater a year, that one tree. the slide or the photo on the right, it's like when you're in the heat of summer, you're gonna walk down the shady sidewalk. You wanna be in the shade, it's cooler in the shade. It's reducing those air temperatures, those surface temperatures. It's also reducing air pollution, noise pollution, and trees just help build community and attract new residents, attract and retain residents. Next slide, please. So, okay, thanks, Britt. Okay, so preserve and protect. Sometimes there's some misunderstanding about how roots grow under the surface. And most of the tree's roots are found in the top 2 feet of soil in this part of the country. And the anchor roots in the middle photo, those are roots that are responsible for the tree's stability. So those are the ones that are most important, if you will, to not damage, because that could increase the risk of that tree failing. The transport routes are also very important, less so for stability, but as the name indicates, for transportation of water and nutrients. So this slide is to, it's like we can't only think about the above ground portion of the tree, but the below ground portion of the tree as well. And the roots are one of the main organs of the tree. So damaging them usually causes slow decline or worse. Next slide, please. Okay, what's out there? So that is, sorry, I'm catching up. So this speaks to like, how do we manage what we don't know we have? Like our current inventory is about 50 to 60% accurate. We manage based on just using that data and then applying it to the entire street tree population. But we can all see like there are some limitations there. We don't know where all of the stumps are in the city. We don't know like and Callery pear is an invasive tree that was just like they're illegal to sell, like they're a newly invasive tree. Where are those Callery pears in the city of Cleveland? And what kind of management plan will we have to address their invasive nature? And then the ash trees is the middle picture. Those are mature ash trees, the only stand of mature ash trees in the tree lawn in the city of Cleveland. And it's shared by Councilmember Spencer and Councilman McCormick, this street, West 50th from Bridge to Franklin. And so it is, so we just need to know what is out there, what is the condition of our trees, what's the species distribution, because we need to have diversity to have resilience in our forest. So right now we've got about 20%, 28% maple trees. We need to get that diversity. We need to increase the diversity of our forest. All right, next slide, please. Increased maintenance visits. So I included some photos of trees that if these trees had proper training, that's the term we use in arboriculture, we call it young tree training. And it's essentially visiting the tree, multiple visits while it's young, up to like year 7. It's based on work by Dr. Larry, I think, Costello. But regardless, it's a very effective way to train the tree when it's young, establish proper structure so that you reduce the risk of any kind of limb failures or branch failures as the tree matures. And branch failures are the most common type of failure in the urban forest. So if these trees, when they were young, had that opportunity and had those multiple visits for that protection pruning, then these types of failures would be greatly reduced in our urban forest. And we have 90,000 street trees. This is an estimate, 90,000 street trees. So between the curb and the sidewalk, there are 90,000. Urban forestry in the city of Cleveland is also tasked with maintaining and managing trees on city-owned vacant lots, parks, cemeteries, any city property, city building that falls within the scope of the work that urban forestry does. So now the 26-year pruning cycle. So I know how many trees my in-house crews can prune in a year. And I'm estimating there's 90,000. So that means if we prune 3,400 a year, it's going to take us 26 years to get to all 90,000. The industry standard, or best management practice, if you will, is between 5 and 10. So we would need to triple our resources to get us down to a 9-year pruning cycle. Next slide, please. So enforcement, we do a lot of talk about like enforcement. We have some really robust legislation about enforcement. What is it like for like boots on the ground for the people like on my team who are going to be the first responders, to the tree in the middle that was undermined during a plumbing repair, undermined so severely that the tree fell over. And that was a perfectly healthy tree prior to. We definitely, there are colleagues at this table that we have made great strides in improving our practices, and definitely credit to Rick and his team in MoCap for those Dominion projects, getting a project arborist on those so that we don't have a repeat of what we're looking at in the image on the right, where that was tree damage done during a sidewalk replacement where a machine just grabbed roots and started pulling to put in a flat sidewalk, and the roots pulled all the way up the trunk of the tree. So we have definitely there's definitely positive changes that I've seen in the 9.5 years that I've been here, and it's with the help of some of the folks at this table. Next slide, please. So in summary, trees are critical green infrastructure. I hope I highlighted the importance of having an urban forestry management plan. Also those tree protection specifications on all the contracts, including urban forestry in the workflow, inviting, let's have a seat at the table during those conversations. The importance of inventorying all the assets, our tree assets, and knowing what's out there, what condition it's in, reducing our pruning cycle so that we reduce risk in our forest, and then issue fines for tree damage. Next slide, please. I talked a little bit about this with collaboration with MoCap. We've also collaborate with water pollution control. Jose, thank you. You mentioned that. We started working together on those water main projects years ago. So there are a lot of victories that I've had and that we've had in the city of Cleveland, and I know we can do more. And sustainability, of course, the Cleveland Tree Plan, the update that was just done in 2020, and the Climate Action Plan through the Office of Sustainability. Next slide, please. Oh, the other picture isn't there.
It will.
Oh, it's okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Ta-da. Okay, so I really do like, Cleveland, you've got to be tough, for sure. But as my colleague Director O'Keefe pointed out, that's not the kind of tough we want, because there's pollution in that picture. And I'm like, yes, absolutely. We definitely are tough, but we want to be tough like the tree on the right, because that tree is over 150 years old. It has weathered many, many storms. It is incredibly resilient in its ability to withstand those storms. And that's what we want to be. That's the tough we want to be. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the next part of our agenda, election of a chair and appointments of vice chairperson and secretary. Can you go to the next slide? I'm just going to, in this slide, again, we'll put up these different roles. Chair, lead of the commission, will set the agenda, run quarterly meetings, communicate with members, and really understand all the points of view. The vice chair, appointed by the chair, will be the second leader in the work of the commission. The secretary, also appointed by the chair, will take roll call, record minutes, and minutes, just a reminder, become a legal document for the commission's work. And I have a procedure for taking votes here, but before we get to that, what I would like to invite everyone who's interested in the room is to make any nominations, or a nomination of another, or a self-nomination for interested in being chair of this commission. And if you could, you can go ahead, and we're just going to raise our hands at this point and offer, you can have the floor and briefly state why you're interested or why you're nominating someone else to be the chair of this commission. I will also say, before we take the vote, we invite anyone who's interested in being appointed, because this is your first meeting. I know there's a lot of connection here, and a lot of us know each other in different faculties and different fora, but this is an opportunity for you to say that you're interested as well. So we invite you to do that also. So I think in an orderly manner, if why don't we just ask for anyone who call for nominations for the chair first and put that out there.
I'd like to nominate somebody.
Okay.
Samir.
Samira, nomination for chair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do I have to give a reason or backdrop?
You don't, but you are more than welcome to say that.
Oh, I think she's a great leader. I think she's great with connecting people to resources. There's been many times where I've been trying to get things done, and she helped me get them done.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Wonderful. Are you anybody else? Would you like to accept that nomination?
If there is no one else, I will accept that nomination.
A nomination, and we can have other nominations. Just you're interested, we're going to take a vote in a moment. But are there any other nominations for role of chair for the commission rather? Okay, then I'm going to invite everyone who's interested in being appointed. If you would like to say something at this time, I think this would be a good time. Just you have the floor. You don't have to say anything, but it might be helpful to the new chair.
I would like to nominate myself for the vice chair. I have a proven record of being a team leader in my section. In this role for, like I said, almost 10 years. I lead a team of over 20. Some very strong personality folks on my staff, and I'm always looking for ways to connect with people, especially if they have diversity of thought. So,
would anyone else like to express any interest in being appointed to another role by the chair? More than welcome. Okay. So I think that we're going to move ahead with the election. I don't know that we really have to. We do need to go through the formality, I believe, of this. So I make a motion to, since there is no chair, I think I can do this. I make a motion to begin the vote for the chairperson.
I second the motion.
Thank you. Excellent. The nomination stands for so let's go ahead and take the vote. And I'm going to reference my my Robert's Rules of Orders here. So any discussion on the proposed nominee, Samir Malone, for chairperson of the commission? None?
I just wanted to speak up. Jenny Spencer from Cleveland City Council. It's so nice to meet you in person.
Such a pleasure to meet
I've
you in
heard
person.
great things about you. And just wanting to see your thoughts on how your work, you currently chair the Cleveland Tree Coalition, correct?
So actually, Rich Cochran is the chair of the executive committee, and I'm the director, and Elizabeth Grace is the chair of the member committee.
Okay, so you're the director of the Cleveland Tree Coalition.
Yep.
Would love to hear how you feel, and I'm thrilled that you are willing to serve as chair of this commission. That is fantastic. Love to hear your thoughts on how your work at the Tree Coalition will dovetail with the Urban Forestry Commission.
Absolutely. So a significant part of our work, of course, is in tandem with the City of Cleveland. Many of the partners that we're working with on the ground and grassroots level are community development partners, as well as other community folks who are executing on neighborhood tree efforts and initiatives, who are often interfacing with Jennifer Kipp, whether it be through permitting or guidance for planting projects in the City of Cleveland. We're also currently in the process of developing what our organizational strategic plan is, so we can clearly define the role that we're playing in really increasing the work that we're doing here in the City of Cleveland around urban forestry. And I think that it's a perfect complement in being able to be chair of the Urban Forestry Commission as we're considering the legislation and the codified ordinance that we need to have to support that work and increase the sustainability and impact of the work that we're doing here in the City of Cleveland. So with really, I'm really fortunate and honored that I was immediately considered for the role, but I definitely think that they are in perfect complement.
And then I'll just add one more question I'll bring forward is, I'm again delighted that there are, these are critical roles that this commission needs to fill, and you have talented people to fill them. I know I have so many questions, right, about just, I think we all perhaps come in with different levels of learning and understanding in terms of everything ranging from the Cleveland Tree Plan and really being rooted, sorry, I had to add a tree plan, rooted in the Cleveland Tree Plan itself, really understanding, having that command. I think we as a commission need to have a command of that plan because it's the roadmap, but also that understanding of the ordinances that affect our work. So I think that was, my question is more along the lines of, I think, incredibly important that the chair will be setting agendas. Would you be open to feedback or requests from members of the commission in terms of future agendas and what we might want to include in order to advance our work together?
Absolutely. This is a collaborative approach, and I believe that, especially in my experience of working with many of the folks at this table, that you all have an immense amount of expertise and knowledge that you bring to this work. And so having the feedback from you all and sitting in a point of leadership, but absolutely taking that feedback and suggestion from you all is something that is a top of priority to me, because it's going to be the collective efforts of us all, as well as the folks of the city of Cleveland, in order for us to hit our very robust goal that we've identified in that roadmap through the Cleveland Tree Plan.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or statements that you'd like to, or discussion? Samira, would you like to say anything else?
Well, first and foremost, I think that this is a very monumentous historic moment that we have in urban forestry, aside from the efforts that we have been leading in the city of Cleveland and all of our partners across the city and in this room since 2015 with the adoption of the Cleveland Tree Plan. I think that we're positioned in a really special time with all of this federal and state investment and interest in really increasing the green infrastructure that we have here through increasing the quality of life in our tree inventory stock. And I'm just really, really excited that we have this cohort of folks who are going to be focusing on, like I said, making sure that we have that codified ordinance and legislation to maintain the fact that we have an equitable urban forest here in the city of Cleveland. That's really just going to continue to contribute to the thriving of people. And I know that's all of our priority.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and take the vote here, and just confirming that we have a quorum, 8 members are present. And I will ask for the affirmative vote first. So the motion on the table is the election of Samira Malone as the chair of the Urban Forestry Commission. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. I realized I didn't actually take a count. Can we do that one more time? You did? Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Okay. I believe we have unanimous. Okay, thank you. Yeah. And then even though it appears unanimous, I'm still required to say, does all those opposed, please raise your hand and say nay. All right. The result of the vote is 14 in favor, 0 opposed, and 1 member is not present. So the motion passes, and congratulations, Samira, on being the new chair.
I'm very excited to work with all of you guys. This is great.
Now we get to turn it over to you. Yeah, you can go ahead and take over. No, so what we're going to do next is there is the appointment of the vice chair and the appointment of the secretary. So that is really, as the chair, that is for you to decide, and you can go ahead and do that now.
All right.
Okay, if you'd like to call for the appointment.
So I will call for the appointment of the vice chair for the Urban Forestry Commission. And then after that, since we've already had Jennifer has thrown her hat in the ring as the vice chair or desire to be vice chair, would we now vote in favor of Jennifer?
So there is no voting because it's an appointment, correct?
Well, Jennifer, I appoint you as vice chair. Oh, sorry. Okay. My apologies. We are on recording. Well, Jennifer, I appoint you as the vice chair of the Urban Forestry Commission.
Thank you. I'm honored.
Thank you. All right, you're coming.
Yes.
Give a little. And then while I realize no one put themselves forward as being interested in appointment of the secretary, that is your next order of business.
May I ask a procedural
Yes, please.
question?
Thank you.
Just a
That'd be great.
Point of order procedural question, for Director O'Keefe. What is the role of the Office of Sustainability going forward vis-a-vis the operations of this commission? And I think that's the first part of the question.
Okay, sure. So the role of the Office of Sustainability at the moment is really to connect the work of the Urban Forestry Commission to the Climate Action Plan and the update. The trees as infrastructure portion of the presentation that Jennifer gave an overview of is key to our strategy for thinking about decarbonization through increased tree canopy and the mitigation of climate impacts on health, such as high urban heat days, and air pollution as a co-benefit, reducing air pollution as a co-benefit. And the role of our office is to, promote the goals that help achieve climate action plan goals, and that will be updated this year. For myself, another role we have at the moment is, unless the commission determines otherwise, is that we have the communications for this commission posted on our website at the moment, and we interact very regularly with the public on communicating urban forestry and the connection between climate action and urban forestry.
Thank you. I think that leads to the second part of my question, which is, I hope someone here is really enthusiastic about becoming secretary. In the event that there's not someone who can decide today and the chair isn't in a position to appoint that person today, is there sort of that support available through your team, through your office, knowing that there is sort of that interface and that function? We need to have minutes and kind of an operation. So is that, will that, until such time that a secretary can be appointed, is that support available, or could the office, does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. You can stop there. That's fine. Yes, I think that we could fulfill that role temporarily. Sure, absolutely.
And we can work on the appointment.
Yes, and we can work on the appointment. So yeah, absolutely. That sounds good.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're not going to call anybody out and appoint them? No,
I will
that's great.
save the calling out, and we can follow up and have some discussions if anyone is interested. Of course, I'm open afterwards to have discussion. Then we can coordinate after.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Okay, so it sounds like the appointment will be temporarily Office of Sustainability. I will take that on at the moment since I am a member of the commission, and I will ask for support perhaps from my team, but I will serve as the secretary for the commission.
Okay, for procedural purposes,
Yeah.
should I?
Yes, you need to appoint.
Okay, so Sarah O'Keefe, I am appointing the Office of Sustainability as the temporary secretary to the Urban Forestry Commission.
Yes, and I will accept that on behalf of the Office of Sustainability.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
We do have about 3 minutes left.
So we have a few minutes left in the time frame for which we scheduled this meeting. After discussing and putting this together, we discussed that 90 minutes is probably a minimum for this work, since this is a quarterly meeting, but that's up to the commission to decide. So what we have next on the agenda, Chair, is the discussion of the draft rules and regulations. And we can make a motion to, anyone here to hold?
Mm-hmm.
You can make that motion.
Yeah, I make a motion to hold the rules and regulations discussion for the either next meeting, or to share and have an email discussion about them. If there's anything that needs to be revised before we vote. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Yeah, okay. And so in actually approving that going forward, so that's the motion, and you can ask for discussion.
All right, I move to approve that motion. Is there any additional discussion to be had before we adjourn? I assume.
Just want to say one thing about the rules and regulations. You all have this printed in front of you, the rules and regulations as proposed. If I would just ask Jennifer to briefly state how these were collated. I think that would be helpful for all of us.
Yeah, thank you. So, so I worked with Kevin Roberts in the law department. We met a few times when we were coming up with what would be a nice draft. Certainly I've seen samples of other commissions in the city, their rules and regulations. There was great contribution also from Director O'Keefe and her team. And it's pretty standard language. I think the one thing that maybe we'd want to talk about is the next meeting. So there is a regular meetings on page 2. I am in the draft, the draft proposes, well, per the legislation, we are to meet at least quarterly. And on that, we're trying to establish consistency with the meetings. So the regular quarterly meetings of the commission will be held on the second Tuesday of the first month of the new quarter in Cleveland City Hall. So if we were able to establish or at least agree on the next meeting of the commission before we adjourn for the day, that would be my preference.
That'd be great.
Okay, and we can call that as the next order of business, perhaps.
Okay.
And then, yeah, thank you for doing that. Yeah, if there isn't any other discussion, we can
All right, well, if there,
table the further discussion.
okay, well, if there is no other discussion, we can table that for our next convening, and I will make a motion to adjourn today's. Really quick. Okay.
So let's vote.
Okay.
So motion on the table is to table the discussion for the rules and regulations. Say all in favor.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Say aye. Okay. All opposed?
All opposed?
Nay. Okay. Motion's
Nay. All
move
right.
forward. Okay,
Motion
we're table discussion.
We'll get it.
And then just the next order of business, the next meeting. You want to figure out the next meeting.
Yes, so our next order of business is figuring out the next meeting as well as figuring out, beginning to figure out what the secretary position, who is going to hold the secretary position.
Yes. Okay, so the meeting proposed is the first Tuesday in April, and I think we have a date for that. So the first Tuesday in April, to have the meeting here in City Hall for everyone in the commission, that would be April 4th. And Chair, I would like to propose that we meet at the same time from 4 to 5:30, however, propose a 90-minute meeting here in person on Tuesday, April 4th.
All right. Motion to approve that time.
Just a second. So let me be official about this. I move that the commission meet on April 4th from 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m.
I second that.
Okay. All right.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
Okay. Great.
And then you can do the motion.
All right, well now I can officially call the motion to adjourn. We're gonna get it. So I call a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Discussion on that point.
Yep.
Yes.
I know we're about to adjourn. Can we, upon adjourning, we have our fantastic city photographer here. Can we gather together, like a brief photo, and then we're kind of spread out? I thought it would be really fun.
Or actually have a plan already, we're doing that.
We already have a plan.
Yes. Thanks for reminding us, Jenny.
Peter, I don't know.
Councilwoman.
Back forward as well, so.
Okay,
Yes.
great, wonderful.
Well, thank you
So
for
in this
inquiring.
moment, This is a big day.
Yeah.
And-
Thank you.
Yeah. One thing, I think you should recognize the public. Sorry. Public
Yes.
comment.
Oh, my apologies. I would like to recognize public comment.
Go ahead, questions, yeah, Mark, with the police team. I'm wondering, I was reading the tree plan, the 2020 tree plan today, I noticed that downtown is 2.4% covered. It's very minimally covered, it's one of the most, I guess, needed, it's a neighborhood that most needs attention from the commission, it seems. I'm wondering, does anyone have comments on the importance of downtown as we grow and residential neighborhood? The Forestry Road there, I'm curious if anyone has any interesting comments about the commission's focus on downtown as a hub for tree growth, et cetera. Especially for the chair.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, we stated this at the beginning of the meetings. The call for public comment is not really a question and answer session. It's a comment session. If you would like to ask a question, we'll I think that we should determine a method for that. We haven't determined one yet because we didn't have a chair and we don't have it in our rules and regulations. That's part of it. Then can we just, I'll leave it to the chair to decide how you want to receive that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Is there any other public comment? All right, well, I find that this meeting is adjourned.